We want to welcome everyone to the Week 3 Doug Loughridge coaching show here with our Siloam Strings Panthers football program. Coach Loughridge, we had a hard-fought game last week with Alma, a game that really came down to the end, and a game, in my opinion, that shows a lot of growth in our program and direction of our program. Saw a lot of positives from my vantage point up top, and just excited about a lot of things. But if you could, obviously at the end of the day, it didn't end how I know you would want it to end, how we wanted it to end from a standpoint of W's and L's. But could you kind of share with us the message for the team after a hard-fought contest like that?
Well, we knew going in with playing a tradition-rich program like Alma, we were going to be in literally for a dogfight, and we knew that going in. You know, and we talked to the kids all week about never mind about how much they are down. They're always in it, and there's always a chance to come back. You know, they were down 14-0 when they were playing Van Buren and came up and had the lead at halftime, ended up getting beat at the end. So all their games traditionally are close-fought games, and usually comes down to the last possession. And it is exactly what this game came down to. The growth you're talking about was just being in the game and putting ourselves in to have a chance to win at the end, and that's what we had. You know, we got the ball back with 2 minutes left, down a score and down a score, and 2 minutes left with no timeouts for a chance for us to drive the field and win the ball game, and we came up short. So very proud of our kids. They played hard for 4 full quarters. I was a little worried going into it about not playing a full 4-quarter game yet. So I think we saw a little getting tired there in the 4th quarter, but our kids battled. They were physical the whole time. They played hard. You know, the difference is when we face adversity, we didn't let it overtake us and just let the ball game get out of control. We were always in the game, and we were going punch for punch with a very good team.
I don't think there's any doubt in that, Coach. I mean, if you look at just compare last year to this year, and that same look, there are oftentimes in the first half we were in some ball games and we did compete, but we didn't just compete in Friday night. We put ourselves in position to have an opportunity to win that football game, and so I'm sure you feel like that's the next step in building this program, is that not only do you compete, you put yourself in a position to win, and now it's at times learning how to finish in some of those moments. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Well, we talked to the kids yesterday whenever we looked at the video about these situations are going to come up again. The final drive of the half where we are in a position to knock a ball down and go in halftime not giving up a score where we tipped it up and they ended up catching a touchdown with no time on the clock. Like, we're going to come in those positions again, and our kids are going to remember those situations, and they're going to know how to act. But the difference was, their kids made plays when they had to make plays, and we were there to make plays. We just didn't make the plays and get the break.
Yeah, I think on some positive notes too, Coach. I said this in the broadcast to Coach Lloyd up in the booth. I said I believe it was in the 2nd quarter. It might have been at the end of the 1st quarter, but they were down inside the 10-yard line. It was 4th and 1. Made a huge play, huge stop, and I said to Coach Lloyd, I said, I can tell you right now, it's plays like this that everybody kind of forgets about in the course of the game. But at the end of the game, if you make that stop on 4th and 1, at the end of the game, you have the opportunity to win the game. And so, yeah, there was a couple plays, and people will focus on a couple of the plays that weren't made, but there were some plays that were made that put us in that spot. And so to me, I was excited. I enjoyed watching our kids compete. I thought that one of the things, moving forward is just talking about the game in itself, how we were able to run the football. We ran the rock 31 times for 171 yards. And any time that you average over 5 yards a carry, good things are going to happen in the game of football. And we committed to that run game as far as 31 times. Mason Short, 22 carries for 118 yards and a touchdown. Had multiple kids with multiple carries throughout the game. You have to love what you're doing running the football and taking pressure off of the young but talented quarterback. Can you talk a little bit about what you saw in the run game, even as Alma committed to stopping the run? The key, it says a lot about a program when people commit to stop the run and you're still successful running the football. Can you talk a little bit about that, what you saw?
I agree. It's no secret what we're going to do going into game plan. You got to stop the run, and that's what defenses focus on, and we're still able to run the ball, getting over 5 yards of carry. Mason had a great night. We had 0 turnovers on the offensive side of the ball, and that was a big difference, in the ball game this week. But all the accolades go out to the offensive line, because obviously if they're not doing what they're supposed to do and getting push and getting movement, we're not able to get all those yards. Those 5 guys up front, Coach Bray has them ready every week. We use multiple backs during the night with Mason and Ryan and some others, and also been able to run the quarterback. It's no secret what we're going to do. Now, people are going to load up to try to stop that, but fortunately we are able to do some other things in other areas to help our offense to be able to loosen up the box a little bit, when they do commit to that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. In the second half, even they started to walk that safety down in the box more and more and get no one high safety look, but it really didn't phase us. We stuck the run, and I think as you saw the game progress, I know that I agree with you. You kind of see the key. It's such a big deal to play a 4-quarter game that week one from a conditioning standpoint in learning the process of playing 4 quarters, but from a standpoint of I saw their front start to wear down and sometimes you see that over the course of a game. Can you talk a little bit about that as far as mentality early on? Sometimes it's 3 and 4 yards with a mindset. Later on in the game, that 3 and 4 yards is going to turn to 6 and 7.
Well, that's the biggest thing about our offensive line and Mason. We're pretty big up front, and we do get pushed early, but maybe we're not getting the chunk yardage like we do toward the end of the game whenever teams get tired and we're able to break some bigger runs. But the other thing is this: Mason's a big back. He's 6'1", 200 pounds, and the fastest guy we got. Coach Benson looked on our Titans during the game. On the touchdown or the screen that got called back, Mason hit almost 22 miles an hour in that touchdown. So to have a guy that big that you got to tackle over and over and over again wears on those linebackers and safeties, and that's what we challenged our guys to do. We wanted to try to get those defensive backs to get down to the box to try to tackle him in the 4th quarter because we knew they would have trouble.
No doubt about it. I mean, the young man caught that screen, I believe it was maybe in the 3rd quarter, well into the football game. 2 kids, and they were DBs, had the angle on him, and he outran their angle. So the kid is a good athlete. And the thing that I noticed from the box as well, watch him, here's what I love about Mason, is after contact, he always falls forward. And instead of being that 3rd and 4 or 3rd and 5, because the 2 previous plays he's fallen forward, now you're in that 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, which is completely, for a play caller, opens up the script and opens up what you can do, and obviously makes a much higher percentage on 3rd down. And Mason does a good job with that. Obviously, I agree with you, Coach. Your offensive line right now is performing very well. I love the wide zone that you guys are running right now. And what people need to know is that play only gets better and better as the year goes on. It's a play that's new to the kids as far as this is game 2, and it's a play that as the season progresses and the back learns how to stay patient and press the line of scrimmage, we're gonna see more and more positivity from that play, I'm sure.
Yeah, and running that play, it is more simple for our offensive line with what we see and being able to, with as far as the type of blocks and things like that. But it puts a lot on the back to make the right cut. He's got to read, and he's got to set up his read to see where his cut is. If it's inside, outside, or whatever, to where he can make it and press line of scrimmage and go.
And anytime you stretch the defense too, Coach, talk a little bit about what that does to the backside and how it opens up the play action game. And we're starting to see that. The first 2 games, we've capitalized on the play action game.
Well, defenses get really fast and running the football because they're worried about us stretching them, horizontal, and then in our back cutting up. It's all about the lanes. The backside guys have to be disciplined and to track the running back and not overrunning. But then that also opens up our counter game. It opens up our bootlegs. It opens up our misdirection and reverses. And if you saw that against the Heritage game, there were some big plays, and still some big plays last week with our bootlegs and things like that.
No doubt about it. We focus here on the offense. I know there were some points scored as far as from Alma, but again, kids, I love our defensive mentality. Talk a little bit about, we talked about it earlier in the year, you talked about some of the keys for Coach Benson, but you can tell that is a coached mindset by Coach Benson and yourself being a defensive guy, of rallying to the football, and we consistently see 4, 5, 6 guys rallying to the football and making plays.
It just comes down to a mentality. First of all, to play defense for us, you have to run to the football. That's a non-negotiable. So when we do every day, we start out every practice with a pursuit drill. And if you're not running the football, you're either not on defense or that group is doing some makeup, because we're not all 11 doing the same thing we're supposed to do. But the mentality of being able to run the football, and when you get there, have hate in your heart and be able to make a tackle and put a shoulder pad on somebody and try to get as many guys at the point of attack as we can, because we want to put hit after hit after hit on their skill guys. And also, we want to have guys coming in attacking the football, trying to create turnovers and making opportunity plays for us to get the ball back to our offense.
Well, it really is a mentality. It's a credit to our kids buying into what you guys are coaching, and you see it across the board on the defensive side of the football. And I think it does, that same mentality, that intensity, and carries over to the offensive side of the ball too, as we see what's going on up front in the offense. It really is starting to become a physical football team, which is exciting. I think in the long run, you win a lot of football games being physical. From a standpoint of guys that stood out, do we have a player of the week this week? Is there some kids you want to talk about specifically? Do we have a player of the week this week?
Mason Short, I think with his performance the other night, and just being able to lean on him and get the big plays when we need to. I thought, again, with the offensive side of the ball, and getting the touchdowns that we needed, that I think Mason Short was the Farm Bureau player of the week.
Yeah, he no doubt about it. He was special. I love the kid that's playing. Help me out, your left guard.
Kale Sotolovich.
Yes, Sotolovich. He's just sophomore, is that right? Mm-hmm. Kid's got a big upside.
He does. We're starting 2 seniors up front, Cisco Suarez and Josh Jimenez, but we've got 1 sophomore with Kale, left guard, and then we've got 2 juniors with Keelan Collier at center and Brett Gold at right guard. So we've got 3 of those guys back. We're developing some backups that are juniors and sophomores, so we're really excited about the offensive lineman that we have coming.
Now Suarez is your left tackle, is that correct? Yeah, in that wide zone play, you're constantly seeing Tolovich and Suarez with that combo, and it's a nasty pair there as far as what
they work well with each other. They're great at communicating with each other. They understand who's going to do what, and they do so much preparation during the week during the endo time with Coach Bray that it's just natural to them.
If you can talk a little bit about another young man that seems to have his nose to the football a lot. You can tell he just plays fast. I like watching the Bowerman kid over there playing corner as far as the young man that moved in. We talked a little bit about him in the game against Alma the other night, but he just seems to constantly have his nose to the football and constantly making plays.
Weston was a move-in during the spring, and we really didn't know what we were getting with him when he came in. But looking at his body, we knew he was going to be a really good defensive back for us. We decided to put him at corner because we like to put length over at corner, and he just kind of took it and ran with it. He took that spot and never looked back, and had a great summer playing a lot of coverages and getting used to what we're doing, but now he's turned into a technique guy, and he's really, really getting better at his craft as far as playing that position. And he's also, the one thing you don't ever know about until you put pads on is how they tackle. And, he's left no doubt with that. He's come down, made some big tackles, had some big hits. He's not afraid to get physical, and that's what we want out of our defensive back.
He made tackles in open space with no one around the other night, and that's the toughest tackle in football. And a lot of times, truthfully, as a former offensive coordinator, when we came in and we would game plan against teams, oftentimes we're going to push crack the safety and tell the corners, hey, go make the plays. And the Bowerman kid definitely can make those plays. That's a big advantage when you have all 11 kids out on the field that can make plays, including the corners. Moving forward a little bit, this is the last game of non-conference. You talked at the beginning of the year about the non-conference season. Anytime that you have, when you break it down, I love that mindset. Have the same mindset anytime you break it down into chunks and you try to win that chunk. So we have an opportunity here to have a winning season in our non-conference season against a good, a team that's had a history of being a good football team, and a team that we both know a man that's leading that program. We're both very close to in Tony Travis, and we know that anything that Tony Travis coaches is going to be well coached. So can you talk a little bit about what you've seen thus far? They came off of a tough game, something you don't see in high school football very much anymore. A game that the final score was, I believe, 7-3, and it was 3-0 with 20 seconds left in the game. So obviously they can play some defense. But can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, and we're excited to get back at home. You know, that's one thing we want to do is play well at home, establish a winning culture at home, establish our place as a tough place to play when teams come in here, and I think we're on the verge of that. You know, we need to finish these first 3 games with a winning record, and that is up for grabs on Friday going into an off week before we start conference. But Pea Ridge is a quality non-conference opponent. They're in the 5A West, which is a very, very tough conference with the teams that they play. The thing about Pea Ridge this year, they've played really, really good defense early. They've kept the games close because of their defense. If you look at all 3 games, they were all close till late in the game, which kind of worries me because they're again kind of like Alma. They're never out of it. A lot, the Gentry game broke open the last 2 minutes of the game. They busted a touchdown at the last second, and then Pea Ridge threw a pick 6, just trying to get some desperation points at the end. So you can't pay attention to that score. And same way with the one from last week being 7-3. So their defense is keeping them in it until their offense gets going. Their offense is a little late just because Coach Travis got hired late, but they get better every week. And so, they're not a team that you can overlook. Definitely, they play physical. They got good numbers. They've got close to 80 kids over there, which is big for a 5A team. So we know we're going to be in for it here at our place when they come to town.
No doubt about it. Yeah, that week 1 score that they had, I believe, with Gravett. I talked to Coach Travis the next day. It was it was a misleading score. It was tight all the way down to the end. They just had some things happen and pop there at the end. So they've been in some very close football games. Just to close out this show, and from a standpoint of the importance of this non-conference win and moving on into the conference season, what's your mindset from a standpoint of building step by step in the program? How do you so you're building the overall program, but you're building this season as you move forward. What's your mindset and growth with this team?
Well, the biggest thing is we know our players that are really good players for us this year. We've got to work hard in developing the kids that are the immediate backups, the guys that are playing on Monday nights, the guys that are end up being starters for us next year, making sure they're getting quality reps in practice, because that's the biggest thing is getting the reps during practice where you don't miss a year of development. And same thing on Monday nights, getting the guys there to get them quality reps in another game type setting. Maybe they only get in on special teams or offense or defense on Friday, so there's a chance to go play the other side of the ball on a Monday night and things like that. But as the year goes on, injuries mount up, so we've got to be have a plan for if certain people get injured, who's going to go there and what. Right now we got a couple of guys that are out, so we're having to retool some guys and put some guys in different positions just because we've got to put our best 11 on the field. So no matter what that is. So, as coaches, we got to be able to hit that and run and be able to teach a kid a different spot, or we've got to be able to teach a kid that hasn't got a whole lot of playing time a different spot. But the growth for the guys that are the backups or, the backups to the backups is the most immediate need going into this top part of the year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I like it. Coach, it's exciting to see what's happening here at Siloam, see major strides in the football program. It's going to continue to impact everything around it, and a large credit of that obviously goes to our kids, but a lot of credit of that goes to you. Just glad that you're a Panther and glad to see the things that are happening for Siloam Springs football. Good luck this week, and let's go get them.
Thank you.